morning. We're back at Westside Bagels here in Coral Springs with Sheila Smith, who's the president and CEO of 211 Broward. We were just talking about what 211 Broward is, so if you don't know, you've got to watch the first part of this video, because right now we're going to pass that and we're going to talk about what they do and how they do it. Okay, so what do you think is, the biggest issue that people call 211 about?
Right now I can tell you that 57% of all the calls we get are related to basic needs. And what we mean by basic needs is food, shelter, rent, and utility assistance.
Okay, so if I call and the mother of 2 children, single mother, let's say, and I call 211 and I say, I don't have the rent payment, my light bill's being turned off, let's go the whole gamut, no money for food, who answers the phone first of all?
First of all, you're going to get a counselor. You're always going to get a professional counselor, so you're not going to be directed through somebody else first. That counselor is going to give you the time that you need to really talk about what's going on. The calls are anonymous and confidential, so people don't even have to share who they are. They can really feel free to talk about what's going on with them without a fear of somebody discovering who they are. Oftentimes when people call for, say they need food, there are probably 5 reasons that they need food and several issues that led up to them not having enough money to buy food to feed their families. And the really important role of a counselor is to begin to explore what those other issues are, because if you don't start to resolve all of the things that people are facing, then they're going to need food again a week from now, or 2 weeks from now, or 3 weeks from now. So a lot of it is really about providing listening support first. Sometimes when people have never had to reach out for help before, they're really in a panic. They have no idea that resources are available. They don't know what to do. They're very emotional. Sometimes they're angry. Sometimes they just need time to vent, to be emotional if that's what's needed. So we afford them the time to do that and to get that off their chest. And once they do that, they're in a place to start to begin to really rationally think about what to do next. And usually there are steps that you take in a certain order, but you have to explore what those are. You have to build a plan. You have to leave people with the phone numbers and the resources and a real plan for what they do next and where they go first.
But let's say if I call 211 and I say I don't have food to feed my children, you're not just going to give me the number for food stamps.
Correct.
Here's where you call to get food stamps.
Yeah. We're going to say, here's a pantry that's very close to where you're located, and here are the hours that they're open, and if there are any eligibility criteria, here's what you need to bring with you. Oftentimes for food pantries, there's really not. So we're going to also make sure that they do have food today, that we can do something and get them to a place where food stamps might be a long-term option, but immediate food is what they need to get through today and
right.
tomorrow.
So you have the ability to, your counselors have the knowledge and the skill to tell them how to fix the immediate problem, but then treat it as a long-term problem with a solution, with a solution that builds on all of the assets that Broward County has to offer through 211.
Exactly. And sometimes resources might not be available today, but they may be available tomorrow. And rent assistance is a good example of that. We also know when rent assistance is available, when it's not available, when it's going to be available again. So we're able to share that with people too. If it isn't available today, but it starts again on the 1st of the next month, we know that. So we're not sending someone for rent assistance today when it's not available today.
So you're not sending them on wild goose chases just to give them something to do no.
Exactly.
There was so many questions that I wanted to ask you. Do you do this for mental health counseling as well? I mean, clearly, as you said, 57% are basic needs, but then there's another 43% that is non-basic, I guess.
And actually it's higher than that because most people are calling with more than one need, so it doesn't add up to 100%.
Right.
But to answer mental health, yes, we have a number of specialty helplines. One is our behavioral health hotline, and that one is really geared toward particularly young people who are facing substance abuse and mental health issues, and their parents who are trying to figure out how to deal with the issues in their homes and within their families. On those lines, we have specialists on staff who have an extensive amount of knowledge in those particular fields. So not only in the system of services, but also are able to help people with real tangible guidelines and steps for how to handle what they're dealing with.
So you do mental health, substance abuse, addiction issues.
Yeah, particularly for young people, but also substance abuse for adults. Our other specialty services, one is special needs. That one is geared toward families who have a child with a special physical or developmental disability. Same thing, we have specialists who really serve as advocates and help people connect with services and supports from the very time a baby is born, so that they're being served and treated right away. We also have a wonderful program for seniors called Touchline. That one is geared toward seniors who are living alone or homebound. We provide a call to them every day of the week, about the same time in the morning. The service is free. It's really a safety check and reassurance call to make sure that they're not ill, they haven't fallen. If they don't answer or a designated backup can't check on them, police or fire rescue goes out to the home to make sure that they're okay. And we have actually had instances where something did happen. And these are usually folks who tell us, if it weren't for your call, we would never talk to anyone because they've outlived their family and their friends. They are really alone. And it's so scary to think of, what could happen if someone wasn't checking on them.
It's awful, and it is very difficult to imagine living in a world where you don't speak to anybody, or you only speak to that one person on the end of the phone for a few minutes every day. It's a horrible thing to imagine. Do they have to sign up for this?
They sign up for that and they register. We're serving about 150 people right now. We have room for 200. That program is entirely operated by volunteers also, so we don't even have paid staff who are providing that service. It's all volunteer driven. Wonderful initiative, and we really encourage seniors who are by themselves to sign up. We kind of become their family. They get very attached to the counselors.
Well, there was every year Meals on Wheels invites the county commissioners to go and to help deliver meals, and I remember doing it. I think it was last year before, and same thing. The person who delivers the meal, I did it in Sunrise Lakes, is the only person these people could see all day long.
Right.
And it's hard to imagine in a county of 1.8 million people that there are people who are that isolated, especially in a 21st century world of technology, and everything is 24/7 and nothing ever stops. But yet, it still happens every single day here and everywhere else, I would imagine, across the country as well.
It absolutely does.
Talk about some of your youth initiatives. You have a new youth website?
We have a brand new youth website. It's called teenspace211.org if you'd like to visit it.
Teenspace211.org.
It is really intended to be interactive with blogging and using all the social media, and geared toward young people and giving them really good information about the issues that they're facing growing up today. Bullying and youth violence and all of the issues that they're dealing with, family relationships, friend relationships. It's also an anonymous place that kids can come and really get good information and also get connected with services and supports. We also offer the counselors to be available to talk directly with them, and we have something called Teen Tapes where they can call in and listen to topics of their choice as well. And kids actually are still doing that. Despite the other kinds of technology available to them, they still do call. So.
Okay. We'll be right back. We're going to do another segment with Sheila Smith, President and CEO of 211 Broward.